My name's Josh Johnson. I'm with Workstream. And Nate, would love to get an introduction from you. And if you could just speak to what industry you're operating in. I know healthcare is very broad, and there's a lot of different verticals, a lot of different things going on. So if you could just talk to, maybe how you found your way into skilled nursing, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Yeah. So Nate Sorense, I work in skilled nursing. I run a skilled nursing facility here in Laguna Hills. So we are a little bit different than some other skilled nursing facilities in that we're strictly short-term and rehab patients. So we have kind of a boutique facility here. We're about 60 beds, just under that. So we're dealing with patients just after surgery or who have IVs and need a little bit more care before they go home. All sorts of different types of patients, usually staying anywhere from 15 to 30 days with us. So we have just under 100 employees here working with us. And so that's kind of why when Josh reached out about Workstream, it was super interesting to us because we're constantly hiring, and it's a really difficult industry to hire into, especially with COVID going on right now. A lot of people are either only able to work one job where they used to be able to work two, or there just seemed to be a little bit more difficulty getting the right people on board. So I've been doing it for about 2.5 years now. And before that was working in a health system in Utah, and found my way to skilled nursing mainly just because of an introduction that was made, and I've been hooked ever since. So excited to be talking to you guys today, and happy to answer any questions about how Workstream has been working for me.
Yeah, great. Thanks for that introduction, Nate. So I understand, different industries work differently, but in skilled nursing and especially in your company, you're responsible for everything that goes on in your facility, including making sure the hiring process is going smoothly, from operations to managing employees. Could you talk about the time investment that is required of you to make sure that staffing your facility is your facility's staffed up?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost a full-time job in itself. I think some people maybe do it differently than I do. I like to have my hand in every applicant that comes through, just because this is a tough business to be successful in. So every person that we bring on the team needs to be a star player and somebody that's going to really add value to the company. So for me, I want to be in on all the interviews. I want to be in on all of that. So that's hard to do with everything else that's going on that I have kind of on my plate. Honestly, though, if you gave the job to somebody, it would probably take 20 to 25 hours a week of their time to do. So was really looking for something to help kind of take that away from me and help make that process a little bit more automated. But yeah, it's a big investment. And just because people are moving on so regularly, CNAs are becoming nurses, or people are moving on to the hospital, or whatever it is. And retention's a big thing in this industry. If you can retain, then you can be successful. So while we work on that, we also need to get people in the door pretty regularly, trying to usually probably make five hires a month, maybe.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. And we had a question from the chat that kind of transitions well here. What were you doing? How were you going about hiring before utilizing Workstream? And how has Workstream kind of integrated into what you were doing before and kind of helped you optimize that? And what have you kind of had to or been able to leave behind since you've implemented Workstream?
Yeah, so I was strictly using Indeed.com to hire, which is a great site, and was doing some good work for us. It took a lot more of my time to manage and to kind of go back and forth with the employees on there, just because of the interface and the interaction wasn't as simple and wasn't as automated. But the great thing about Workstream is we don't have to give up Indeed. In fact, most of our hires still come from Indeed. Workstream just helps on the back end. So Indeed, or whatever the other sites are where the posts are being placed, can help bring people in. And then Workstream has really helped us manage them once they've clicked apply, and really improved our conversion rate. So we haven't had to change anything there. We just, paused our own jobs that we had posted on Indeed and posted them on Indeed through Workstream. And it's nice because you can still do all the features that you'd like to do before. Like, you can still sponsor your job posts if you want to, create kind of special campaigns and stuff like that, all through Workstream that then, shows up on Indeed. So before we were posting on simply one site, and then obviously we had like a apply with us on our website, and that was it. And now we're on, 10 plus job boards every day. So
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. And then, yeah, I think that's a good time to go ahead and look right into what Workstream, what your Workstream instance looks like.
okay.
And kind of, I'll share my screen here, and we can kind of walk through your profile here and talk about kind of what you mentioned. One feature of Workstream is, the additional job boards that you're able to post to. And that's automatically happening. So instead of, just Indeed, you're getting applicants from Glassdoor, Facebook, or supporting text to apply, scan to apply if you have folks visiting your facility. So you do have kind of, you're casting your wider net. But I think as we pop into the Workstream, let's see, are you able to see my screen there, Nate?
Not yet.
Okay, let's see here.
There you go.
Okay, you're able to see that here?
Yep.
Awesome. So this is the dashboard, and I know, Nate, as you mentioned, you're getting applicants from a number of different places. But Workstream is really focused on what your experience you're delivering once applicants have flown into the portal, like have applied for your facility.
Mm-hmm.
And you're attracting applicants from a number of different ways, whether it be Indeed or different job boards, or investing in your website, in your career page, and your marketing spend. And then, so Nate, along those lines, the question for you here is what has been, I know we've talked about what kind of experience you deliver once candidates flow into Workstream, once they apply to your jobs.
Mm-hmm.
How has your process kind of changed as you've been able to have applicants come into Workstream?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing really is just if you're in a competitive market where you have a number of facilities or other jobs around that people can go and get. We're in tough times right now, so a lot of people are jumping at the first thing that they get a response from, or the first place that they get an offer from. So before, if somebody applied on Indeed, I would get an email obviously about it, but if I'm in a meeting or we're dealing with something, I might not be responding to that person for hours or even a day. And by that time, they could have already moved on and gotten a job at the next facility down the road or whatever. And so with Workstream, right as they apply, wherever it is that they apply from, they're going to get that automated response that I've customized to say, hey, thank you for applying. And it'll prompt them to fill out the questions and the information that I'm asking for right there. So immediately after applying, they're having a touch point from us, which I think already just gives you such a leg up on the competition, just because you're responding right away. You're already in contact with them. The app on the phone makes it super easy because I get a notification telling me when people are messaging me, when they've confirmed an appointment or when they've applied or whatever. So I can just be right on top of it with them. So Workstream, in the sense of the conversion rate, works that way. It helps us be quick responding, and it helps us get people engaged with our company, rather than, I think we've all had the experience of applying for a job on Indeed, and then 6 months go by, you've already gotten a job, and then they respond and say, hey, we're still interested. Are you interested? It's like, I applied for that job 6 months ago. So
yeah, definitely.
I think that's a big thing for me, just to know that even if I was off my recruiting game, or I wasn't able to look at Indeed right then, Workstream would be reaching out to the people for me. So I thought that
yeah, awesome. Let's jump into that from what that looks like from the product side here, because I think that's interesting. When CNAs or RNs or LNs or other healthcare professionals are applying to jobs via Indeed, you can be certain that there's not just one job they're applying for. They're applying to a bunch of different jobs. And so that engagement that they get is really the experience that they have when they apply is really important in winning that candidate. So when you log into Workstream here, this is Nate's profile. You have a schedule that's going to integrate directly with your email. For those in the audience, you have a summary of what's going on in your business from last week. And if I take you here in the positions tab, Nate's hiring CNAs, registered nurses, another CNA job looks like he turned off, and a physical therapist job, which it looks like you kind of have an overwhelming applicant pool there. So you may have turned the job off so you
I
can
had to
start
turn
to,
it off for a little bit.
yeah, stop getting applications. We have a question from the chat that I think will go well with this. Nate, you mentioned kind of the questions that you like to ask applicants and kind of doing that additional qualification automatically.
Yeah.
Something great with Workstream is that you touched on is it doesn't matter if applicants are applying at 3 a.m. or 10 at night. You don't have to go and manage the applicants that are coming in at 3 a.m. They're going to get instant engagement with your brand and with your facility because you already have this application process that's happening automatically via text message. So yeah, I'd love to know, Nate, from your perspective, how have you kind of used this? How have you kind of customized Workstream to make sure that when someone applies, you're qualifying them automatically?
Yeah. So, I mean, to be honest, we were just finding that we were ending up with a lot of interviews that we were scheduling and taking up our time and going through the process of getting the person here and whatever, just to find out that they didn't have a CNA license or, there were some other big, red flags. So I've kept it pretty simple depending on the position. But yeah, you can scroll down there and show that, we ask for like what type of position you're looking for. Is it full-time, part-time? Have you ever worked in this industry? And do you currently have a license? So this has helped me a ton because again, with so much going on, I don't like to be that person that's like, I'm always so busy, but really we are. And so our time is valuable. So if I'm going to have somebody come in and interview, I'm really not going to waste my time if there's somebody that doesn't even have the license that can't come and work for me right now. And it's probably like a 6-week to 3-month thing away that they would be able to come and work with us. So maybe that seems a little cutthroat, but when we need to make a hire today or tomorrow, we can really sift through those people. Yeah. I think Workstream allows you to make that question the type that automatically rejects the applicant if they answer no or yes or whatever. We don't use those that much other than the legally eligible to work in the U.S. But this is nice because when I get the application to come in, I just scroll through their answers really quick. On my next stage, I think the additional information stage, I have them put which shifts they're willing to work, because even though you put in there, hey, we're looking for night shift, you're still going to get people that will apply that want AM and PM. And so I'll probably just decline those people if we don't have openings and we're really looking for night shift. This happened this week. So we really need night shift CNAs desperately. I put up the job posting for night shift. I had about 10 applicants come through and I chose the 2 that said, no, I'm willing to work night shift. They're actually here right now interviewing with doing the on-site interview with our
amazing
managers, and they're going to start probably in the next couple of days. So these questions help us kind of just make sure we're not wasting our time maybe with somebody who's not necessarily fit for the job.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. And that first question, those in Workstream, for everyone in the chat, all these questions are customizable. We have smart screening questions that automatically reject applicants, such as if you're not eligible to work in the U.S., Nate shouldn't be spending time with those applicants just because they're not. There's no possibility of them, being able to work at his facility. Nate, we have a question for the chat. I'd love to get your touch here. So for those who aren't very technical or maybe don't have a ton of experience working in different web platforms, could you talk to? Did someone help you set up Workstream, or how is the process of kind of customizing your hiring process in Workstream?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, Josh, you have been super helpful along with Mary and the Workstream team. After we signed up, we had a good length call that was able to kind of walk me through step by step how you do things and how you can customize. To be honest, I don't think that the cool thing about it is I don't even think I've reached the point where I feel like I'm utilizing all the features that Workstream has, and we're having incredible success with it. So I think you can be pretty simple with it and not have to be super tech savvy and do all this kind of stuff. But even if you wanted to customize it fully and use all the features, it's so easy. It just, like you can see right here, it just takes you through step by step. You just choose what you want to have on there. You know, and really, I'm not a super tech savvy person. Obviously, I ended up in healthcare, so this has been really easy for us. Whereas also with Indeed, and the app is actually probably my favorite part, because the app, we're all used to using apps every day, and they've made a really, really good app that doesn't have any glitches, any bugs. It's really user friendly. I'm starting to do most of my stuff through there. So it's really easy. Once you get up and running, and the Workstream team will help you do that, you can literally just say, this is what I want it to look like. These are the questions I want. And if you're having trouble with it, they will help you do that. You know, it's really easy after that initial setup.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. I think at this, let's see. We have a question in the chat. Can you see applicants who come from different job boards in Workstream, or do you still need to log into each job board? Good question, Nate. How, I know, you know, you were working specifically with Indeed before, and still working with Indeed. How has, you know, since you've brought on Workstream, have you been still working with different job boards, or how has that worked?
Well, I mean, that's also one of my favorite parts about it, is I know we have postings on multiple job boards, but I never have to log into those job boards because they all just funnel into Workstream. So you can run analytics and see where most of your applicants are coming from. And ours are still mostly coming from Indeed. I would say probably I think it was 95%, Josh, when we looked at it.
Yeah. You have an analytics tab here.
Yeah, there you go. So a large percentage are still coming into through Indeed, but yeah, you don't have to log into any of those job boards. It'll all come in here, no matter where they're coming from. They'll funnel into you, and you can handle them in Workstream.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I was actually working with a customer who's really interested in or who have two HR folks actually that are tasked with bringing analytics to their hiring process as well. And so this was able to kind of simplify their lives a little bit, because you just have real-time analytics into what's going on with your hiring process. Awesome, cool. So I'd love to continue on, Nate. If we could just run through one of the value adds you've described with Workstream is increasing your conversion once applicants apply to your job. And so I'd love to just run through how Workstream does that. I think it'd be useful for, you know, we'll get you going through this application process as a test applicant. So for those in the chat, this is Nate's, these are the custom questions that Nate's Nate's built out for his CNA job. You'd arrive at this web page either from Indeed or Glassdoor or Facebook, or a text to apply link, which we do with Workstream as well, or a scan to apply. And if I'm looking at this from the application perspective, you know, Nate's customized his job description here. He's described, he's really looking for a night shift CNA, as you mentioned. And he's specified that in the job description. And then he's listed out some of the benefits from his facility. So if I'm an applicant and I'll apply as you, Nate, I'll put my email here. And what's your cell phone number, Nate?
707-501-0438.
0438, great. Nate has experience in the healthcare industry, is looking for a full-time position. He does hold a CNA license, you know, let's assume these things are true, and eligible to work in the United States. When an applicant submits this with Workstream, either through this web browser or their cell phone, they're going to receive a text message letting them know that their application has been received, and they're going to get a link, you know, prompting them to start moving through the job process. Important to note that all of this has happened without Nate having to do anything. And now if I come into the CNA job from Nate's perspective as the hiring manager here, I'm able to come into this stage here of Workstream and see, okay, Nate Sorense has applied today to this CNA job. And if I click into Nate's profile, I'm able to see the answers that Nate has. Nate's already going through this application process. I'm able to send Nate a message. I don't have to use my cell phone to do this. This just runs through Workstream. Oh, whoops. Send a text to Nate. And this is where Workstream is really differentiated on the candidate experience. As other candidates apply through Indeed, they're they're applying to facilities, getting emails, phone calls, sometimes a week or two later. When a CNA is applying through Workstream, they're able to get instant engagement into your hiring process and move directly through the questions that you've customized for that applicant. Awesome. So Nate, I know a big thing for you has been as you moved applicants through and kind of got them, collected their automation, and once you've qualified applicants, could you just talk about how you've gone about scheduling interviews with these folks, and how Workstream has, maybe increased your ability to get interviews?
Yeah, for sure. So that's another big thing that we were having issues with was like, I'm going to send you a message on Indeed. Hey, does this day work? Or this day, which one works better? And they come back, oh, I can't do that. And then I don't see that for a few hours. Okay, then how about that? And so the scheduling itself can take like 2 days. So how this works is if I move them onto a stage that I've titled phone interview, because we're doing a phone interview with everybody now before we have them come on site. So if I move them to that stage, then they get a link that will take them to a schedule that they can see time that I've allotted on my calendar where I'm able to do phone interviews. So I've gone on to my calendar and Workstream and marked off times. And so they just get a representation of that and they can choose one of those times. Then when we do the interview, then I get a notification saying, hey, they scheduled on this time. We do the interview. I move them onto the on-site interview stage and the same thing happens. They just get in. As soon as I click move to on-site interview, I don't have to do anything else. They just go in, look at my calendar, find out when they can come in. They schedule the interview and it happens. So that part in itself, like that's the only reason I was able to talk to that CNA yesterday on a phone interview. And she's here right now, probably getting hired pretty soon because we didn't have to go back and forth about, hey, when can you come in? All this kind of stuff. I just sent her my calendar. These are the times we have available. Pick one and she wanted to get hired super fast. So she picked the soonest one. So.
Yeah. Awesome. And then before you're using Workstream, how did that process scheduling interviews work?
Yeah, it was just super manual. I would just message back and forth on Indeed or through email. Sometimes would call them and say, hey, when can we get this done? But to be honest, I think we lost a lot of applicants that way. Just like I said, for our own lack of responding soon enough to say, yeah, you can come in at that time. But yeah, it was all manual, either myself or one of our HR people reaching out and saying, hey, we want you to come in this day. So no automation at all.
Awesome. And then have you increased the amount of folks that show up to the interviews when you schedule them with Workstream? A feature I want to touch on here is you have Workstream supports automated text messages. So once an applicant is scheduled with you, Nate, you have a rule set up here that you've customized where they get a text a day before their interview, and then 1 hour before their interview, they're getting a text message directly on their phone reminding them that they have an interview with you. Has that helped you kind of keep applicants in your pipeline?
Yeah, for sure. Big difference there. So, I mean, yesterday I even had somebody say, oh yeah, I've been waiting for your call, probably because they got the 1 hour reminder, saying, hey, you have an interview, versus me chasing them down. I mean, I had even assigned somebody to just do that. Like, hey, here's my calendar of interviews for today. Can you reach out to these people an hour before? Which she totally rolled her eyes at me to be given that task. But that's what we were trying to do, to try and help people show up for the interviews. And now they get it 1 day before, 1 hour before. And yeah, I mean, I think I've maybe marked out of all the interviews we've done 2 or 3 no-shows. So it's been a lot better.
Okay, awesome. Just because, that's to do with that automated text messaging and following up with people with texting. It's been interesting for me to see with Workstream here is people just, when they apply to jobs through Indeed, it's hard to get in touch with people over phone call because robocalls, you don't want to answer numbers that you don't know anymore because they're either, trying phishing or robocall or whatever. But text messaging is just a way to get in touch with people instantly and then deliver that kind of experience that's on par with the culture that you're kind of running at your facility. And then, I think it'd be useful to keep running through Workstream here. So Nate, you like to I know for your process, you like to get folks straight into on-site interviews and bring them in. And that's when you're able to add your customization. How has Workstream helped to support you how have you kind of customized your process to make it so you're not changing what you're doing in hiring, you're just kind of bringing the automation and simplifying things?
Yeah, that's exactly what we've done. We really still do the same thing. There's still the same steps. But like I said, one huge thing has been the scheduling, getting people in. The other thing is that we can upload some documents that we would normally have them take time to do while they're here. They can do them already, through Workstream. So we can upload those and send them to them. When they are getting hired, we've uploaded our offer letter template, or we're going to be doing that. At least I can't remember if we already did it, but we're going to be uploading that so we can send it out through Workstream just to kind of make it easier in there as well, because they get used to communicating with us through the app and through the software and getting messages from that email and from that number. So, but yeah, we really haven't changed. Like, we haven't reinvented the wheel. This has just been a nice support for us to help bring people in and get them in the door. We have a great facility here. Once we get people here, they pretty much always are hired. If we offer them the position, they're always accepting. So the big challenge was just getting them here, which I think anybody that works in healthcare can attest to.
Yeah. Awesome. And then continuing on through Workstream here, Nate, you and I talked about the job boards that we post to. We absolutely want to keep supporting these people that are posting jobs in Indeed. Indeed is a really great place to find applicants, as you mentioned. It's also nice to kind of get reach in other job boards, which we post to is Monster and Google, Glassdoor, ZipRecruiter, Facebook. With Workstream, you'll no longer have to spend time kind of fumbling through these job boards and managing applicants in different job boards. They'll all come into one place. If you're doing Indeed sponsored ads, which a lot of our customers do, you run that through Workstream as well and continue to get good visibility through Indeed. I think another great feature of Workstream to talk about is a text to apply link, which you're able to kind of post on your social media and allow people to just apply to your jobs directly on their cell phones. That tends to just be a really fast way to capture people. And then, another good question. We can, so Nate, how have you set up notifications? How have you just been reminded of when applicants come into your portal?
So for me, I get an email if anybody, I don't get an email anytime anyone applies, but I just check Workstream like probably 3 times a day at least and just look in there. But I do get notifications anytime anybody has scheduled a meeting with me, or if they sent me a message, or if they're, they've been, I think I set it up so if they've been in a certain stage for an amount of time and I've kind of left them there or neglected or whatever, I get reminders on that too. So it's not like an overbearance of notifications from Workstream, but it's in the key points where, hey, you need to take some action here. And that reminds me to go in and see, okay, they scheduled this meeting, they'll be coming in today and that kind of stuff. I believe you can set it so that when somebody applies, you could probably get a notification, maybe not. Oh yeah, right there. I just don't have that one turned on. Yeah. Actually, will you turn that on for me, Josh?
When an applicant applies for a position?
Yes, please.
Yeah, awesome. So easy as that. So you can kind of just customize what, just get more clarity into what's happening in your hiring process and make sure that you're quick to, take care of folks as they apply to you. Yeah. And then here on the applicant tab inside of Workstream, this is going to separate out by positions all the candidates that have ever applied for your role. So if you happen to fill a role and then it's, you have a demand for another CNA position, you can go back through previous applicants. That was a question in the chat. And then Nate, good question here as we kind of wind down. We have a couple minutes left. I know when we first started talking, you had some high demand for CNA roles. I know staffing is extremely important in the healthcare industry. How long did it take you to make your first couple hires with Workstream, from day one to hiring a few CNAs?
Well, what was it, like 5 days, wasn't it? It was like 4 days. I think we had, my problem is I'm not following through. So I'm not marking them as hired in there. So it shows 2 hired. But I believe we've hired 5 so far. We've been with Workstream for like 3 weeks. So right off the bat, I mean, the app, that's the thing. We weren't necessarily signing up with Workstream to get more applicants. It was more just to convert them. And we were pleasantly surprised by the amount of applicants that came from Workstream, that they increased for us. But yeah, the thing out of the gate was noticing we were full with our interviewing schedule. And we only made a small number of hires because we chose to not hire those other people. I mean, we were looking to hire like 4 or 5 people. So yeah, right out of the gate, I mean, we didn't even have to, we've been with Workstream for 3 weeks and we're about to be completely staffed with no empty holes, which in our industry, if you have a hole and you have to fill that with a registry or an agency employee that, you have to pay double or triple, whatever the cost of Workstream is minimal when when you compare it to what you'd have to pay to get one CNA to come and work a shift to cover your team. So the ability that they were able to give us to hire quickly and get people in and continue to do so. I mean, even if we're full, I'm not going to turn off our CNA and nursing ads because people usually come and go. So yeah, it was quick, like less than a week.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. And then we have a question about, with Workstream, about how to get applicants from Workstream into your ATS using UltiPro. Thanks for that question, Jessica. So Workstream is designed for the ground up to be for hourly workers and for facilities that are hiring kind of workers that are deskless. So this is designed to be separate from an applicant tracking system and be kind of its own applicant tracking system here. So as far as how we integrate with UltiPro, it'd be more of Workstream would be more on replacing something like that rather than putting applicants into your system.
And we use UltiPro here, but the ATS part of it we didn't really ever utilize, and so you don't necessarily integrate the two. It's kind of become our ATS and what we're using. But yeah, I get that question because we had the same kind of thoughts. I think some of our other facilities have too, but it's good enough on its own that that's all we need to use.
Yeah. Do you mind, Nate, why did you, what was like the, for those who are using UltiPro Suite, especially for like onboarding and HRIS, why is Workstream for you differentiated enough to add it to your stack, as opposed to using just the UltiPro ATS?
Well, some people might be using it a little different than I was. So I don't know that my response applies to everybody, but for me, I mean, I just view them as two very different things. I don't think I really just ever had much success with that part of the UltiPro stack itself. So adding this in was kind of a no-brainer. We obviously still use our UltiPro for our onboarding and payroll and all of that fun stuff. And there's all the reports that I run on that side of things. But when I think of our recruiting, I really just needed something that was kind of going to be an automated system for me to help me track and convert. And then obviously once they're in the door, UltiPro is what we use to manage them and stuff. But anyway, I don't know, maybe my answer isn't necessarily relatable because we weren't using it super robustly, but in my opinion, you need it in addition to that if you're wanting to really convert your applicants to hire.
Yeah. Awesome. Great. That's how that works. That was a question from Jessica. Another question is, we have another question here and then we'll finish here is, can applicants do this online? Absolutely, yes. So when someone applies, they're able to do this through the browser as well. And then you can kind of customize if you'd want to send people to their phone or manage them more through email. Great. So
if you don't mind real quick, I think Jessica had a follow-up thing on that UltiPro. That's a good point in the sense that it could seem like it's creating extra work. I can tell you right now that Workstream does nothing along the lines of creating extra work for you. I think you can still, we still have all of our processes that are very, very strict in our types of facilities, which I'm sure you're dealing with too, when it comes to onboarding and doing all the correct documents and stuff. So we don't necessarily use Workstream for the onboarding part. We just do that to get people in the door and get them hired. And then we shift over and do that there. But I know you're saying it can bring their offer letter and put them into UltiPro already for you. You can still use that same process. You can still do the offer letter and everything through UltiPro. Just cut that off from Workstream. Workstream just helps you get them in, schedule their interviews, get them hired. When you're ready to send them an offer, you just do it the same way that you've always been doing it, and then they'll go into your UltiPro. So
awesome. Thanks, Nate.
Yeah.
Nate, thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, if there's any participants that would like to get in contact with me, my email is josh@workstream.is, and we'll have some information to send out post as well, and would love to be in touch about, helping kind of alleviate the same problems that we've helped alleviate for Nate. But other than that, thank you so much, Nate, and hope everyone has a nice day.
Thanks, Josh.